There's a slow-moving risk sitting underneath Bitcoin, and most of the people who own it have never really looked at it. It's not a crash. It's not a regulation. It's a question coming out of physics, one that's been getting a little more serious every year for 3 decades. Start with one number. About 4 million Bitcoin, worth hundreds of billions of dollars, are sitting in a state where they could, one day, be exposed. We'll explain exactly what that means. Stay with it. Welcome to Metacortex. This is where we explain technology and how it shapes your investments, and where we take the questions people find confusing and look at them from an angle that usually gets skipped. Ground rule: we just explain how things work. We never tell you what to buy or sell, and we never call whether Bitcoin's price is heading up or down. Believe me, nobody knows. Treat what you see here as one more input for your own investing. So let's get into today's topic. To understand the stakes, a little history. Bitcoin launched in January 2009, invented by someone, or some group, under the name Satoshi Nakamoto, still unidentified to this day. It's capped at 21 million coins. Today miners release about 450 new ones a day, and on the current schedule the last one won't be mined until around 2140. Now the price. In 2010, a programmer paid 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas. By 2017, 1 Bitcoin cost $20,000. At the end of 2025, it was around 126,000, and today, as we film this, it's roughly half of that. And yes, plenty of early buyers got very rich. The point here isn't the price. It's how absurdly big this got, from a pizza order to one of the largest assets on Earth. At that peak, all the Bitcoin in the world was worth about $2.5 trillion. For a moment, bigger than almost any company on Earth. That price swing is the risk everyone already argues about. But in this video we're looking at a different one, slower, further out, and one that could hit the value of the whole thing. To see it, you need to know how Bitcoin actually keeps your coins safe. There's no bank and no vault, just math and 2 keys. The first is your private key. Think of it as the master key to a safe. Whoever holds it owns what's inside. Lose it, and the coins are gone forever. No hotline, no reset. The second is your public key. Now, don't let the name fool you. Public just means it's safe to share, not that Bitcoin actually posts it anywhere. It's built from the private one. Picture a chain of 3. Your private key makes your public key, and your public key makes your address. That address, the thing you actually hand out to receive coins, isn't the public key itself. It's a scrambled fingerprint of it. The public key pushed through a one-way scrambler that spits out a shortcode, and you cannot work backwards along that chain. From the fingerprint, nobody can rebuild the public key it came from. The scrambler only runs one way. So while your coins just sit there, the outside world sees only that fingerprint, the smudge. Your public key stays hidden, right up until the day you actually spend. One thing that surprises people: most of us never actually touch these keys. If you keep your coins on a big exchange, or in one of those new Bitcoin funds, you don't hold the master key, they do. It's like a coat check. You're holding a paper ticket, they've got the actual coat in the back. That can feel safer, a professional is guarding it. But turn it around. If one company holds the keys to millions of people's coins, its vault becomes the richest single target on the planet. So the risk doesn't vanish when someone else holds your keys. It gathers. Now the other half of the story, the physics. To see the risk, you need to know what a quantum computer actually is. Start with an ordinary computer. It thinks in bits, tiny switches that are either a 1 or a 0, checked one after another. A quantum computer uses qubits, and a qubit can be a 1 and a 0 at the same time. String enough of them together, and the machine explores a huge number of paths at once instead of one by one. That's the idea the physicist Richard Feynman floated back in 1981. In 1994, a mathematician named Peter Shor found the part that matters here, a way to use that trick to take one of those public keys and compute the private key behind it. The reason we don't have one already: qubits are absurdly fragile. A stray vibration or a flicker of heat, and the whole calculation falls apart. The chips have to be chilled to a hair above absolute zero, colder than deep space, just to hold their state still long enough to count. Building a big, stable one is one of the hardest engineering problems anyone has ever attempted. And nearly everyone with the resources is chasing it. Companies like IBM, Google, and Ionki, and national programs in the United States, China, and Europe, pouring in billions. For 30 years there was no machine that could run Shor's method. Slowly, that's changing. No need to panic. And here's the honest version. More quantum bits doesn't automatically mean a better computer. In 2024, Google's best chip had fewer of them, about 100, and it mattered more than the 1,000-bit one, because it made fewer mistakes. That's the real race, not size, accuracy. To actually crack a Bitcoin key, You'd need a machine thousands of times beyond anything that exists today. Nobody knows when that arrives. The experts genuinely disagree. Most estimates land somewhere in the 2030s. It could be later. It might never happen. Far enough away that it's not today's problem, but real enough that serious people are already preparing. So back to those 4 million coins, and the reason they're exposed, when yours might not be. Remember the fingerprint. As long as coins sit in an address you've never spent from, the world only sees the smudge. The real key stays hidden. Safe. And here's the reassuring part. That stays true even against a quantum computer. Quantum is brilliant at the key math, but it barely dents a hash, so the fingerprint holds. But the moment you spend from an address, you have to show the real public key to prove the coins are yours. From then on, it's written on the public ledger forever. Leave coins in an address you've already spent from, and the lock is now sitting in the open. That's about 2.5 million coins. Then there are the oldest coins, from 2009 and 2010, including roughly 1 million believed to be Satoshis. Those were stored in a style that showed the key from the very first day. And oddly, there's a modern echo of the same thing. Bitcoin's newest address type, Taproot, also writes the key on-chain by design, a bet that quantum won't show up before it's swapped out. Now, nobody even has to go looking for these coins. The blockchain is public. Anyone can download the whole thing. The exposed coins are already visible, already counted. That's how we know it's about 4 million. The day a real quantum computer exists, the target list is already written. The attack itself is simple from there. Take the exposed key, compute the master key, and sign the coins over to yourself. To the network, it looks like a normal, valid transfer. The direct victims are the owners of those coins. But honestly, this hurts everyone, in 2 ways. First, trust. If millions of coins suddenly move, especially Satoshis, faith in the whole thing cracks, and the price goes with it, even for coins sitting perfectly safe. Second, supply. A large share of these coins have sat frozen for a decade or more. Satoshi's million have never moved once. The market has quietly treated them as gone, as if the real supply were millions of coins smaller. But an attacker doesn't hold. An attacker sells. So a mountain of coins the world had written off comes crashing back onto the market all at once, right as trust is collapsing. 2 shocks at the same moment. So, say it happens. Someone drains those coins. Now Bitcoin has to do something about it. And this is where it gets hard. The network could fight back, rewrite its own rules to freeze the stolen coins, or cancel the thief's transaction. But that breaks the single promise Bitcoin was built on, that nobody can reverse a payment, and nobody can be censored. Code is law, so it's cornered. Door 1. Do nothing, and accept the locks are broken. Door 2. Step in and freeze the coins, and admit a payment can be reversed after all, if enough people want it badly enough. Either way, something Bitcoin was supposed to guarantee quietly dies. Here's the part that we think is the most interesting, and the most missed. This was never really just about Bitcoin. That same lock, the one Shor's method breaks, is the lock behind your bank login, your medical records, and the little padlock in your browser right now. So picture someone finally building this machine. They probably wouldn't announce it by stealing coins on a public ledger, where everyone can watch. The quiet, valuable move is to read secrets no one's supposed to see. Bitcoin isn't the first thing at risk. It's just the most visible. But there's a flip side, and it's the part that's genuinely hard to solve. Everything else on that list can be upgraded quietly. Your bank swaps its locks overnight and you'd never notice. In fact, the new quantum proof standards were already finalized back in 2024. That upgrade is underway. Bitcoin can't work like that. There's no head office to flip a switch. Fixing it means millions of people agreeing on a change, and then each person moving their coins to a new, safer address, one by one. And here's the cruel twist. Moving a coin means spending it, which shows its key to the network. Only for the minutes the transfer waits to be confirmed. Once it lands in a fresh address, the key is hidden again. But in a full quantum world, even that brief window is a risk. And the exposed coins whose owners are gone, or who lost their keys, they can never move. Not ever. None of this means you should sell your Bitcoin or stay away from it. Just keep it in the back of your mind. News on this will keep coming, and some of it will swing Bitcoin's price. Factor that in, and always make your own call. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for the next one.